Oh. Alright. Pull up my controller. You want me to fill the English channel with tears? Apparently the smuggled goods deals was gonna happen at a gentleman's club. Uh, the coppers weren't onto it yet. Hey, Wiser Odeb, how are you doing? We're trying to figure out what's the thing to do. Secret meetings in it. Press. Good, just finished making a clip? Nice. Very exciting. Wait, what did it say? A false bottom. Let's see. This was the one with the 21.4. I'd say it's a solid 20 at least. If 20 is good. Gregson's metal traveling truck trunk that was removed from the scene. And passport. 20 is good, yeah. So Gregson was 30th October, 1 week. And he was in France with the trunk. There's an autopsy. I'm kind of stuck, honestly. Let's see. So how had Gregson known about it? It's hot. Oh, no problem. Maybe Gregson didn't tell other people because he died? Present. No. I'm kind of stuck. Oh no, 3 strikes. Saw the Reaper. Presents. Reaper. Letter of introduction, dismissal notice. external wounds, stab to the heart, scarlet ink. So I'm playing this game called the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Should show up. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles should show up. That's the game. See. He never met the inspector the day before the incident. So... there's a clue. The grouse. Present smuggled goods.
Objection.
Nope. I'm getting nothing. I might have to get a game over here.
Objection.
Nope. Alright, we're getting that game over. I need to think carefully. No! No, don't pronounce Barrack to be guilty. That's my fault. That's horrible. Or try from this scene. They're supposed to follow orders and investigate what they were told, right?
Hold it.
So, you follow orders, right? Nah, not me. Special orders. Right. Well, So she did an investigation. And she searched the boss's office and had a notebook with secret meetings. Okay. Because at the yard, they didn't see her. Okay. And Chief Inspector Toby as well. Hidden in one of his drawers that had a false bottom. She hid herself so she could read what it was written. Okay. According to that, was looking for smuggled goods. Okay. Do you have any idea where? Let's see. Illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Hoping to find a name. Alright. Okay, what if I don't have her read it out? There's a good chance you might make a mistake. Oh. Mix up the letters P and Q, B and D. Oh. Grouse. Grouse? Grouse? Okay. I think I know why. I think I finally understand what the puzzle is. Okay. Okay.
Hold it.
We're gonna have her talk about it being the grouse thing. Alright, let's do it. Alright, let's have her expose the name. Let's insist. So we're having them expose the Grouse Gentlemen's Club. And she says, apparently the smuggled the goods deal was happening at a gentleman's club called the Grouse. Is it the Grouse? Or the Bronze? Or... Okay, let's present something though. Professor Mikotobo, wonderful handwriting. Dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Is it just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy? Okay. Blackbird Lane. Looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse. Oh, we could use this. All right, let's do this one. How strange. Where could have gone? All right. I think we're gonna present this one.
Objection.
I've heard about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Grouse? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. I'm sorry to say they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on 31st October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing an irreverent attitude toward our country's police force there, Counsel. Counsel. If it was a gentleman's club, what was it? A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have evidence to prove it. Here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. The other side, my lord. Be more specific this time. This would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship. Yes. The SS Grouse.
Objection.
So there's a steamship named the Grouse. That happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. Ship arrived at Port of Dover on 1st November. The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission. That ship hadn't yet docked on British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging. The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. Show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. In that case, counsel, for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the 31st of October. Think it's this one? Present this or this, I'm sure.
Take that!
Take that. What's this? A passport to travel to the victim? Issued to the victim? Dated 31st of October? What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Order. This document is for passage to France. It doesn't appear to have been officially authorized. The day before SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, was on board at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? I'm impressed, Yunosuke Naruhodo. Certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? The prosecution's strategy for this trial had been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at the London Club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigation, and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecution's office is trying to hide something. What? Now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I'd intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Asogi? Courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts without exception. Let me guess, this was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission with the Reaper. The Reaper? Order, what on earth are you saying, counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was in fact acting for the Reaper. So you're saying the mission he was undertaking was obviously an assassination? Wow. Bjerg von Zieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast iron alibi, which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. You claim that was Inspector Gregson? Oh, what do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done nothing like that. And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense. Now, it can't be. We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zieks. No, the true Reaper is someone else. Bjerg Van Zieks is not the Reaper. Predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as the agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, Nobody was killed aboard the steamship. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on the board of ship. But I think perhaps you missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson has lost his life. What? Gregson did aboard the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. What are you talking about? Inspector Dina Lestrade. What? Victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier, that doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey. You're lying. I mean, if all of them bludgers got taken out at it coming, if the boss weren't the Reaper, or Gina, there's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. It may just be an apprentice, but if you spent any time at Scotland, you must have heard rumors. I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it. Then testify again, as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss. I don't. I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you would tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Here we go. Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. His victims, dates, and places and stuff, and last entry here was 31st October. It said grouse for the place on the date, and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal who got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. Honest, the boss didn't do none of it. It was investigating the Reaper, that's all. Yikes. The personal opinion of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here. This must be so hard on her. Can't deny it now, surely, Ryunosuke, Naruhodo. What can I deny? The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information the victim could have only known if he was working with the Reaper. So, who was to be his final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade, read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on the 31st October. How'd you read this then? Reading's still not her strong suit. That ain't a problem, alright, Odo. It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read. Something from overseas? Let me have a bash at it. Iro. Is it? Seishiro? Jigokyo. Maybe? What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku? But that's Judge Jigoku. Seishiro Jigoku? That's not an English name, you're right. That can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku. I saw him the day before yesterday, here in London. I know for the fact that the man hasn't been assassinated. As I said, the Reaper failed. Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the Inspector. Personally. The Reaper, of course, being the accused. Beric Van Zeeks. It's an undeniably logical argument. Asma, you planned for the trial to go all this way all along, didn't you? Who's talking now? Is it Jigoku? Oh, it's Beric Van Zeeks. I didn't know we were allowed to see his shoes, but... Lord Van Zeeks? Accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You return to the dock. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there's one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl's no detective. Eh? What? Uh, nah, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector. Repeating rumors heard around the yard. Reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin? That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you clearly planned. Your hatred of me is undeniable. In your mind, I'm sure I'm the Reaper who sent your father to the gallows of all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself by attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. What did you say? Mr. Narihara, this is our chance. My lord, defense requests the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. Very well. I'll make an exception and grant the request. Defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense to begin the cross-examination immediately. Let's do it. At once, my lord. Yeah, this notebook does have a lot of stuff what the Reaver got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates. Okay, let's go back and press this.
Hold it!
In other words, it shows that Gregson basically acting as the Reaper. No, not you and all. That ain't the only explanation, is it? He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and then that notebook said what he found out. If I may. When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believe the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. Ugh. You silly cat. Ugh. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper. One arm? What are you talking about? The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them all on alone. Reaper's an organization. With you at its head? With you at its head? Ah! Ah! I had spies at the yard keep me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know if he was elsewhere. I've been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew the location. You knew it said grouse? I believe it. Believing it to be a reference to a gentleman's club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone. Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you there. But of course, the inspector was not there. Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook. Fine. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? You seem a little shocked by something a moment ago. No, it's alright. I'm overthinking this, aren't I? Names of victims, places and stuff. The last entry in here was 31st of October.
Hold it!
Names of victims, dates, places and stuff? What in particular? Well, Besides the victims' names, this other name keeps cropping up. What other name was that? It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name, written over and over again. You mean Assassin? Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or somewhat, isn't she? Were you even listening yesterday? Assassin. The assassin. What, like a killer, you mean? Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable, and who to use to get at them. The person actually executing the plans was someone else, you're saying? You're saying? If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes. Then perhaps it said on the passport document, permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel? Could that additional person have been clearly the assassin? He was meant to take Seishiro Jigoku's life. Dina, can you confirm that against the final entry listed Grouse and Seishiro Jigoku? What name was written? Well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it, as it happens. What? It just had like a question mark or somewhat there, I think. In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not? How infuriating. Nameless assassin. It said grass for the place on that day and then the name of the mark. And you're saying that the mark listed was Seishiro Jigoku? That's what it said. Funny name if you ask me. And I thought it was your name was odd. So pleased I lost my crown there. Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of the Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man came to our I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago. Studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor? If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now. Years ago, after that fateful case. Precisely. In the aftermath of the prosecutor's case, his repatriation was organized immediately. Alright, Mr. Cat. You ready to go? Ugh. Come on. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook. I didn't think it was possible, but the mood here's got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking. There's a note about him being a criminal? What got away from the Reaper in a court 10 years ago or something. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. It was investigating the Reaper, that's all.
Hold it!
What do you mean a criminal? Judge Goku is no criminal. Don't ask me. I didn't know nothing about it. Do you remember what Father said to us that Judge Jigoku did once appear in court here in Britain? And he's related to the professor's case, I'm sure. Yeah, of course, you're right. Titular was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. It was a pitiful situation, yeah. I've forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens. You did? It's considered to be adjunct to the professor's proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand. And there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule? that there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike. What? No, are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination? The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial, and the Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is. Come on, that's absurd. To take someone's life for that? Isn't the whole premise the Reaper absurd? Killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension. But... Right, I've had enough of this. Gina? All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people? It's cobblers. Come on, Odo. Why ain't you saying nothing? Why? Why ain't you yelling out objection or something? What? You gotta find flaw. You do usually. Someone's lying here, no question. You gotta work out who it is. Please, for the boss. That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. When this trial's over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear? I've had it with Yolanda. It's lies every bleeding place you look in the world, ain't it? Well, I haven't enough. Gina. So have I, after that little speech of Gina, I made up my mind. To do what, Miss Naruto? There's one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. That one statement that seemed odd. Do you mean I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears? The first one.
Hold it!
In other words, it shows Gregson acting as Reaper. He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and the notebook said what he found out. If I may. When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believe the power to intimidate London's criminal classes in compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper. One arm? What are you on about? The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper's an organization.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Gina? Gina? How did it come to this, big boss? She's lost in her thoughts about Gregson. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. I probably shouldn't pursue her too hard unless she really reacts to something strange. Focus on the testimony, please. Let's do that one more time. In other words, inclusively? Okay. One arm? What are you on about? Yeah. No way, an organization. With you at its head? I had spies at Yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I'd have been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew. Check the most recent entry in his book. You knew the location. You knew it said grouse? Leaving it to be a reference to the gentleman's club, I went there on the day in question to investigate alone. That explains why several members of the club claimed to have seen you there. But of course, the inspector was not there, because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook. Fine. Something wrong? You seemed a little shocked by something moments ago. It's overthinking it, is it? I think it's at the fine part.
Hold it!
Okay. Hmm. Gonna press her when she says fine. Did I pursue this? No. If if that's a passport. Hmm. A criminal 10 years ago.
Hold it!
I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency? Really, Odo? I don't quite know what it means yet, but yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by...
Take that!
Of course, by you, Lord Van Zeeks. Your face has turned ashen. How could he know? Is that what you're thinking? And my face has turned ashen. It's because I'm thinking. How could he? I don't know where you're going with this, but maybe the evidence you're obviously about to show the court will clarify? In that case, the defense will present evidence to substantiate its claim. Which piece of evidence does this alleged inconsistency relate? Before his issued... If you didn't know he was dead... I don't know.
Take that!
I'd hope not to present this evidence, but you leave me to choice. What to say to this? Uh... I only hope the Reaper doesn't hold that against you. Fingers crossed. Hmm. So that's what we have to work with. May help us that Lord Van Zieks is in the stand too. Perhaps, I'm sure Gina knows something she hasn't already told us. No point. Did you notice how Kazuma-sama reacted to Lord Van Zieks' words? When he called him an even more sinister Reaper? Well, I'm sure Kazuma intends to eliminate any shred of doubt that the man is guilty. He's looking for revenge against the person he considers to be his father's killer after all. Don't you worry, we'll fail to find a discrepancy. The trial may end, and the adjudication won't go in our favor. Let's listen carefully again.
Hold it!
You're saying the mark listed Seishiro? Hmm. Hmm. A criminal that got away 10 years ago.
Hold it!
Hmm.
Excuse me.
You have something to say about that? Okay, so maybe there's something that Lord Van Zieks has that we don't know about?
Hold it!
Do you remember what Father told us? Judge Goku appeared. Uh-huh. Alright. You prosecuted the trial. Hmm. Then 10 years later, something happened.
Hold it!
I'm kind of stuck again. Eh? What is missing? Uh, Load of stuff what the Reaper got in the past 10 years. Do you have anything to say about... Okay. That's not. One arm.
Hold it!
One inconsistency. He said one arm.
Take that!
Forced by you, right? Desk at the scene of the crime. Rexon died. I don't really know. Hmm. Resending this board. Oh, Aristotle, hey. You don't want to work today? What are we gonna do, Aristotle? I'm sorry about that. Is there anything we could pray for about? Hmm. I need to go to the restroom. I'm at BRB.
Take that!
Alright. I'm gonna finish that. Ow. Do we get unlimited chances here, or do we have to take... Okay. I'm gonna BRB, and then I'll pray for ya. Alright. All right, let's pray for Mr. Aristotle and wisdom. All right. Dear Holy Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to pray for Aristotle. God, you're so good and kind and generous. You've given us more than we need, and you have wisdom and knowledge that is godly wisdom, not earthly wisdom. And we need a lot of that. And Aristotle is a bit stressed out about work and not motivated, but God, you know exactly what you know exactly what his heart is feeling right now, and would you encourage him in his work and his play, in his decisions? Give him the wisdom to be righteous and honoring you in all that he does. I pray for the trips that he's making for work. I pray for the driving and the interactions of random people on the street, whether it's the other drivers and the other stops. Take care of him on any of the vacation that he might take, and give him some opportunity to spend time with his family and just relax if he was feeling overwhelmed, and think about you. And I give him and his desires and requests to you, God. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. We're gonna. What else did you know? All right. I'm sure Gina knows nothing what she hasn't already told us. Okay. Okay. Let's actually wait until he calls people sinister.
Hold it!
What do you mean a criminal? Jigoku is no criminal? Do you remember what Father said? Did what's I don't think this one has anything. Hmm. The thing about is Cosmo's alright. Thank you for the lurk. Hmm. How vindictive the Reaper is? Ah. Hmm. 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 I'm so lost.
Hold it!
Yeah, that's the one. Assassin. Like a killer, you mean? Who'd you use to get at them? Someone else. Passport. One additional person? Hmm. This is a question mark. An assassin. A nameless assassin? Permission for the applicant and one person. I'm really lost. Press. Okay. One inconsistency. Inconsistency, what someone said. Maybe Gina said something inconsistent?
Take that!
Of course, by you, Gina. Of course? What's that supposed to mean, eh? Gina, Mr. Naruto? Wasn't giving testimony here, so if there's any inconsistencies, they can only be introduced by her. Okay, so I'm wrong. Hey, Seal the Centurion, how you doing? I hope you are well. We are running some of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Seal, how's your day? How's your work? Aw, could be better. Have you been training some newbies at work? In that case, the defense will present evidence to substantiate its claim. Relating to...
Take that!
It's this. This is the proof. Nope. Ah, your back windshield. What? How could that happen? It is? The only thing that evidence proves is that the man advocating for the defendant... Ah. Is there, like... Aren't there closed circuit TVs, cameras at your place? Oh dear. What if you put a tarp on it? Are you allowed to do that? Hmm. Deal. Maybe it's time to invest in some, cameras things. Yeah, that might be a good call. I really put my foot in it there. A video doorbell. Yeah, the problem with video doorbells are they don't exactly continuously record. Ozma reacted to Lord Van Zeke's words. So I'm gonna
Hold it!
press. Hmm. We have Beric Van Zeke say something unusual. Or maybe it's Kazuma. Hmm. Hmm.
Take that!
Nope. I don't even know. I keep getting hit by invisible bullets. I'm kind of lost. This was a weapon found at Fresno Street. Old photographic print, prominently of Clint Van Zeeks. Scene of the crime. Notice board. Venus gunshot. Ah. Mm,
Hold it!
and I go through all of them. Hmm, what is his face?
Excuse me.
Lord Van Zeeks? Is there something about the witness last statement that troubles me? Yes? Ow. Ah.
Hold it!
How do you even do this? 10 years ago, after the fateful case. Hmm. A criminal that got away.
Hold it!
Hmm. I just don't know how to answer this. Hmm. Hmm. Sogi died. Gregson died. Hmm.
Objection!
Then why did he come back to Britain? Ah. Last entry in there was 31st of October.
Objection!
But if he was away for the week... Hmm.
Objection!
Uh... Ooh, more sinister than Reaper. Hmm.
Hold it!
In other words, it shows Gregson basically acting as the Reaper. Could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and Notebook said what he found out. By May, people refer to Reaper, right?
Excuse me!
In 15 minutes? Okay. We'll play for 10 minutes and then we'll party up.
Hold it!
I'm not sure. He had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. Hmm.
Excuse me!
Hey, Sergio, how you doing? We're gonna swap over to Rocket League and then we'll be back, so don't worry about it. I'm just stuck. Any guys want to help? Backseat. Names of victims, dates, and places and stuff. Note about him being a criminal who... There was a note about him. Photo, help. Yeah. One arm, an organization. Simply no way.
Hold it! Take that!
Got all quiet. Did I get it? By you, Kazuma Asogi. Me? There's some attempt to filibustering counsel. Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting that I said was inconsistent? You let something slip. You shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you realize what you've done. Man, Surge of Zeal, me too. I'm gonna go to sleep. Donner says, well, very well then. Let's go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency along Prosecutor Asogi's saying? Wouldn't your chat and yeah, exactly. I I woke up at 5 and then I fell asleep for like a little bit and then I accidentally turned do not disturb on Discord and I lost track of time. That was not good. I fed my cats and then I fell asleep. So I could have done a Bible reading if I stayed up, but I was so tired. But I was not feeling that good. Not good at all. Cosma says, with you at its head, Rex's trunk or passport.
Take that!
This is nonsense. But no. Ah, what is the inconsistency that Kazuma had? Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, where shown the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. That's the same thing. I showed the passport. You know, that's exactly it. I take it from your expression that you're not going to let this go. Yeah. I made a mistake, that's all. You let something slip, and you shouldn't have. This is a relevant piece that my assistant totally gave me the answer for.
Take that!
This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, is it? Certainly very heavy. Oh, what's this? A bloodstain? Bloodstain? A relatively fresh one, too. What? You mean that it ain't grease from old boss's fish and chips? Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There's no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it, me. Brave me knows for trouble. Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma. Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the north coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went to trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport? But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma. On the 31st October, where exactly were you? At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Grouse. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke? Kazuma, what did you... Well, I think we need to go on,